Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this weekly. Oh, battery is low. Welcome to this weekly update for myself and the awesome city manager, Andy Stewart. Today is Tuesday, June 29th, 2021, and we're happy to be here. Andy, good afternoon, man. How you doing?
How are you, Mayor? It's great to see you. Nice
Yeah,
and warm out today.
absolutely, very warm, very warm. So, you know what? Let's get right into it. I know there's some information that we want to share to people. We're gonna start off, of course, with the COVID-19 update.
So, just starting off on COVID, as usual, Mayor. Um, the issue here is um, our vaccination rate. Although it's coming up, which is great. It's up at 51.4 for everybody who's 12 and over in the city. And now I'm really happy to report, feeling a little competitive. We're ahead of some zip codes in Yonkers and Mount Vernon and parts of New Rochelle. We're behind White Plains. So I see it as a little bit of a horse race to see who can get the most people vaccinated. I'm actually talking with Assumption Church about setting up a site there. The county has been working with the school district to promote vaccinations. The Pride event last weekend had a vaccination site there. So the more people get vaccinated, the safer we all are. The As far as the actual COVID case rate, we only have 4 active cases right now, which is a fabulous number. So it's great to see it so low. Well, we lost the mayor for a minute there.
Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah,
Had a
we lost
battery
him
issue.
for a minute. Where's the mayor? Yeah, so I went through the case rate and talked a little bit about how our numbers compare to other places. We're actually kind of coming up on the scoreboard over parts of Yonkers, New Rochelle, Mount Vernon, a little behind White Plains, and so let's hear it for Peekskill residents going out there and taking care of trying to get vaccinated.
The peak skill way, peak skill pride.
You know, especially since we know that there is some other variants that are making their way across the United States,
Mhm.
Delta variant, things like that. It's something to stay on top of.
Yeah, and we excuse me, we still encourage people to be safe. We know that the Fourth of July holiday is coming up, and a lot of people are going to be gathering with their families at barbecues and other events and whatnot. The city of Peekskill is not hosting our annual Fourth of July parade. We're looking at other possibilities of hosting it later on in the year. We still celebrate and acknowledge the independence of the country. Um, but as far as the fireworks go this year, because of COVID, it put us behind it, put us pretty far behind. So, we're going to work with the fire department to see what they would suggest. If they would suggest doing a fireworks show later on in the year, then there may be some possibilities. So we still acknowledge and celebrate the day, but we just will not be having fireworks this year. But we do encourage people that are out there as you get together during your barbecues and your family gatherings, still be mindful that COVID is not completely gone. It's just lessened, but it's not gone. We still want everybody to practice safety measures. So that being said, speaking of COVID getting better for the world, we have resumed our in-person meetings. So we'll be doing our common council meetings in person. People are welcome to come. You're asked to wear a mask, and you're asked to be check your temperature once you walk in the building. But people will be welcome to come to common council meetings again beginning yesterday.
Yeah, so we had our first in-person meeting in a long time, and it worked out fine. Very few people showed up. We encouraged people to come out. We did have some really important topics on the agenda last night. We can go over those a little bit if you want. But it's nice to see people, and nice to sort of unlock that door, which is starting tomorrow. We're not going to have a locked door at City Hall anymore. People can walk right in. The greeters will be on duty. They'll help people get the information they need. Of course, City Hall has been open for business throughout the pandemic. I really want to congratulate staff on getting the jobs done, help people out. But we've used this intercom system to let people through the door to make sure we didn't have too many people coming in at the same time. There's a detail sheet on the city website which provides all the information about what city services are available on a walk-in basis. Most of them are. There's a couple of things like if you're getting married and you want to talk with the clerk about that, please make an appointment. There's a lot of paperwork involved, and she gets that going ahead of time via email, and then brings people in when they're ready to sign documents.
Right.
So certain things really need an appointment for. If you're meeting with your Section 8 housing case manager, if you need to talk to a building inspector, these people are out in the field a lot. You really need to make an appointment. There's a lot of building applications which are available. The paperwork is available outside that front desk, and our greeters know where it is. So if you come in the building and you just need an application to put in an above ground pool, whatever it is, you can get that paperwork going and use the drop box outside the building to drop anything off anytime you want. Just a reminder, finance office does take cash. Online payments are done via the website, and they're happy to talk with people on a walk-in basis for anything they need.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's it's great to remind people, the parks are reopening, the other areas of the city are reopening. The Peekskill school district had great graduations over the last couple of weeks. I was able to attend the Peekskill High School graduation on the new Torpy Field, which was just phenomenal. It was amazing. I remember back when I was graduating from Peekskill High School, we had to sit under this blazing hot tent on the actual Peekskill High School fields, and because a lot of people complained so much about the tent, about it being so hot, so then we transformed over to the Peekskill Paramount Theater, and but this year to do it outside without those boiling hot tents under a nice breezy day. I think it was like 78 degrees that day. It just turned out amazing. So
Yeah, it was actually beautiful. I was sitting in the bleachers with Chief Halmy, and when the shade got to us, it was actually a little bit chilly.
yeah. Yeah, it was an amazing event though. Congratulations to the class of 2021 for making it successfully through the year, despite all of the challenges. And shout out to her. Congratulations to Dr. Arthur, the principal uh, at Peekskill High School, and all of our principals and teachers and staff and faculty. As the city of Peekskill is at their highest graduation rate in over 20 years, at 83 point, about 83 to 84% graduation rate. So we went from about 62% in the last 4 years to about 83%. So shout out to the school district for their hard work and efforts to get our kids what they deserve. So for those of you interested in any boards and commissions, we've appointed about 3 people to different boards just last night at the Common Council meeting. We're still encouraging people to join the boards. We do have a senior board where we speak with senior citizens, myself, the city manager, Chief Homie, and a liaison who's currently Councilwoman Patricia Riley. If there are any senior citizens that are interested in being a part of these boards, just shoot an email to myself, the city manager, or Councilwoman Riley, or you can call us at the city hall, or even call the police chief. Let them know that you want to be a part of the board, and we'll get the process going. But we need and we would like more people to join the board. There's probably about 4 vacancies, four or 5 seats available now out of the 11. So we're looking. Anyone interested, come on out.
Yeah, last night the city council welcomed a couple of people aboard the Conservation Advisory Committee and the Parks Advisory Committee, actually. So we appreciate people coming out and volunteering for those boards and commissions.
And the Human Relations.
The Human Relations Commission, right. Patricia Pickering pointed to that. And yeah, actually to the Parks Advisory, not to the CAC.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great to see people coming out. Those boards really do important work. The Parks Advisory Committee, for example, right now is working on a policy proposal related to banning smoking in the parks. It's something the city council has talked about. We're going to be back on July 12th with more information about that. So these groups really do have important conversations. They bring the concerns of the community forward, analyze, and bring recommendations to the city council.
Yeah, the Human Relations Commission helped eliminate one of the questions off of the applications for parents to enroll their students in school. And I think the question was actually asking if you're an actual citizen of a U.S. citizen. And the Human Relations Commission I shouldn't say fought, they worked with the school district to get that question removed off the enrolling process. So all of these boards do a lot of work behind the scenes. Some don't get credit for others. I know that the Human Relations Commission doesn't necessarily have like a social media or Facebook presence, but all of these boards work extremely hard collectively. So anyone interested in being a part of them, they're going to be a part of some really great teams.
Yeah, just to follow up on that, Mayor, on July 12th or 13th, the HRC, the 13th, Tuesday 13th at 7 o'clock. It's going to be an in-person meeting because all the boards and commissions are back to in-person now.
Yep.
In City Hall and the conference room there. We're going to have an update on our police reform project with Chief Halmy and myself presenting updates on probably about 25 different actions that the police department's been taking and some larger items that are outstanding we're working on. So we invite the public, the people who come to that meeting in person. It's also going to be videoed for later replay by our wonderful team that does that, Mike Miner and his assistants.
Right. I think it's important to remind people too. The police task force reform board um, was made up of about 20 plus people, and given about a six month trial and error timeline to create um, policy and suggestions to change the entire police department or improve the entire police department. And this group, including City Manager Andy and Chief Palmy, I think did a phenomenal job at the beginning steps. Um, Tasking the Human Relations Commission to carry on the conversation and to continue the process, I think is phenomenal for the city of Peekskill, period. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what other improvements or possible changes we can do. But at the end of the day, there are other areas in the city where we can focus on too that may need improvement and changes. So this is specifically towards the police department, and I look forward to seeing what comes out of it. But this is a great start to a long going necessary process.
Um, I'd like to note a couple of upcoming cultural events that the city residents can take advantage of, if you would, Mayor. Just
Yeah,
for
go ahead.
the uh, the the down the Riverfront Park on Wednesdays, there's going to be music starting this Wednesday at 7 o'clock. There's R&B band, and going forward every Wednesday at 7 o'clock. It's really great music options. It's completely free. Just walk down there, bring a picnic blanket, and enjoy the beautiful music in the riverfront. Also, this Wednesday on Esther Street, our wonderful Esther Street kind of pedestrian plaza there, the Conservation Advisory Committee has organized to show an environmental movie, and there's information about that on the Facebook page. Also free. We're actually working right now to see if we can dim the streetlights so that their screen is easier to see on Wednesday night. We're hoping for good turnout. Hope for no rain, and they'll have a good event there. It's nice to see that area activated. Along with, of course, we have Pugsley Park for the first time getting used for a social event by the Pride group with that family festival over the weekend, which is great to see Pugsley coming into play in a way that it hasn't before.
Right.
So yeah, those are just a couple of items going on people might want to know about for the next few days over the weekend. There's also, don't forget, the schedule for family movie nights is also published on the city website and Facebook page. Bring your kids down and watch the movies in the park. It's on weekday. I think it's Mondays.
All right.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's Fridays. It's Fridays. What am I saying?
Yeah, Fridays,
Yeah.
not Mondays.
That's a Friday night thing.
We're on TV on
City
Mondays.
council's on Mondays.
Yeah, like I said, they rather watch us. We might be a little more entertaining sometimes. I
But
think
to keep up to date on this stuff is to sign up for the city's email newsletter, which we've developed with our new PR consultants. That looks real nice. We've added about 75 new subscribers over the last month. But you can
awesome.
call my office, somehow get a hold of that, look at it on Facebook, and click on subscribe, and you'll get some updates. The one coming out for July has a feature on our Parks Department and some other information people will find useful. Open meetings, reopening process, things like that. It's all in there.
All right. I have I didn't mention this before we got on today or last night, but how are we looking with the survey as far as the opting
cannabis
in?
survey. This is the survey, Mayor, where people are asked to weigh in on the question is related to dispensaries and kind of smoking lounges for the legal marijuana. And the city council can pass a law opting out of having dispensaries and lounges. And the city council wanted the community to weigh in on that. We put together a survey. It's circulating online. We've got about 400 responses or so, which is a pretty good number. We'd like to have more. And they're running about 2-to-1 for accepting the dispensaries and the lounges. The numbers are looking like that. So
I thought it'd be more than that.
yeah, most people, probably 60-70% of respondents think that the city council should not prohibit those kinds of businesses.
Absolutely.
And,
all right.
So yeah, we're just letting that roll, kind of accumulate answers, and then when the city council wants to address that issue directly, probably in September, we'll have a report back on that.
And I haven't been able, well, I shouldn't say I haven't been able, but I haven't said this on one of these meetings in a while because I know people are a lot more in tune now. But you can always go to the city website or to the city Facebook page for more detailed information. Most of the stuff that you'll find on some of the websites, like the social media groups, usually come from the source that they usually get the information from is usually from the city website or the city Facebook page. So anyone that's out there in the internet world that's looking for more information on these things, you will always find them on our city website and city Facebook page.
Yeah, I just want to mention on that we use that Facebook page for kind of breaking news sometimes. And for example, when we put the cooling center program up over this little heat wave we got right now, it's pretty darn hot out there. It went over the threshold of over 90 for 3 days in a row, predicted. So we opened up our cooling center, the neighborhood center. The reality is very few people actually go down there, but it's good that it's there between noon and 6. You can also go to the library too, take out a book and cool off. But we really encourage people to hydrate, to keep an eye on your elders, your little ones, and do what you can to really stay healthy during this little heat wave we've got going.
Yep, drink plenty of water, room
A
temperature
lot of
too.
water.
Yeah, so we set a public hearing to remove loitering regulations from the city code. So we're going to encourage people again, weigh in, voice your concerns, voice your opinions. Um, and the common council meetings are all in person again, so you're welcome to come and join us. For those of you who have been participating on the common council meetings, just for your own knowledge, the council will be accepting people to actually come in again and speak on items on the agenda or just any items. The email pattern is not going to be um, part of the actual common council meetings anymore. If you email the city council or city manager, you'll probably just get a response from the city manager, and we may just share the answer at a common council meeting publicly.
Yeah. I
But we
actually think
encourage people
I
to
think the
come to
city
the meeting.
council is still kind of voicing opinions on that matter, Mayor. Just I've seen some emails go back and forth, and we talked about it a little bit last night.
Yeah,
We want to make sure that anybody who wants to communicate with the council can do that on the record. So, people should feel free to send emails at this time. Um,
yeah, but that's not. I don't know if we're going to continue that for too much longer.
right? Yeah, that's
So
up to the council. So,
yeah,
so definitely want to try to keep meetings efficient.
yeah. So that's it on my end, Andy. How we looking with questions, comments, concerns?
We can cut over to Facebook. Facebook, as people know, it's people can sound off and say what they need to say. We actually have a fair amount of comments. We got about 8 people live right now. We had 13 before, and I can
Okay.
describe some of the comments and questions to you.
Please.
I kind of have to edit on the fly. Sometimes there's some negativity. One person says there's no reason to limit attendance and social distancing in City Hall. I would have to differ with that. The um, the the city's still got about half people aren't vaccinated yet, and we want to make sure we protect people's public health. Anybody who shows their vaccination record at the door is welcome to come in without a mask. It's a common courtesy to continue.
Yeah, and people should try to be mindful that these executive orders and these the guidance from the governor is for us to base our decisions on, not necessarily. I mean, if the governor says, I know when the governor said that you shouldn't have more than 8 people at your house, during I think this was like around early October.
Mhm.
Not you should have more than 8 people at a gathering. People really felt that as long as they had 7 people, they were safe from COVID. And it's just like that's just not the case. Like you all 7 people that came to your house could have been COVID, could have been COVID holders, So it's these the guidance that we get from the governor is for us to kind of make a determination on what we think is best for the city, and it gives us free room. So when the governor says, okay, we're allowing in-person meetings, that doesn't mean that the city of Peekskill is going to have 500 people in a meeting with no mask. It's just not going to happen. So I would encourage people who listen to these mandates and these executive orders to also consider that there are people who are still carrying. COVID is still existing, and people are still being careless in some senses. So we don't just do everything based on what's said. We look at what's said and we try to make it unique to the city of Peekskill.
There's a question about illegal housing and whether or not homeowners are allowed to just rent a single room. And that was a question that came up last night at the meeting. Our code enforcement provided an answer, which is that there's limits on the renting of single rooms. It's people can have roommates, obviously, with shared kitchen facilities and so on, but there's limits on the renting of single rooms, like just a hallway with a bunch of rooms on it. And so that's And the bigger issue sometimes is with illegal housing is also that sometimes people will convert a garage or a basement room to a bedroom, and that can be very dangerous for the inhabitants. If people put up little walls and stuff without building permits, it can be very dangerous
Mm-hmm.
for firefighters when they're responding to a
Mm-hmm.
call. If a building it doesn't have the right fire exits and things like that, so
Right.
it's something to be aware of and to try to if you see violations or you're worried about it, you can ask questions at the building department.
And if you see something, say something.
Just going down through some of these Facebook comments. Oh, then there's this question about fireworks, right? Because fireworks are illegal in the state of New York, and it's not unusual for people
Certain
to
kind.
cross state lines, get a bunch of explosives, and do informal fireworks. And we will get complaints. And City Council talked about this last night. The chief of police has advised that if they get if people report names and addresses, they will absolutely tell people to stop blowing off the fireworks and and uh, and and take that on. A lot of times, what happens is people will say, "Well, I heard something somewhere nearby," and that report, you might get a police car driving around, but it's not enough for them really to take much action. So the more specific the complaint, the better. And they certainly will, if they find somebody doing it, they'll enforce the rules. There's also this question about the illegal use of dirt bikes in the park, which is a good point. People are not allowed to ride around on the grass in parks on dirt bikes or even operate an unlicensed motorcycle or ATV on the street. And the city police actually have responded to those complaints. And folks might not realize, but they actually confiscated somebody's dirt bike recently. So there's some risk to that kind of activity or behavior for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But they've got some comments here about limited access. So we'll take a look at this. I encourage people to write me with specific information if they have it. I'll put my
Okay.
email address in that.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see where we're at. Not sure what somebody here is volunteering to be on a board or commission.
Wonderful. If you're interested, send your name and excuse me, contact information in an email to myself, the city manager, any member of the council, and what board you're interested in being on, a letter of interest, and if you can, include a resume too, if you have one. If not,
Yeah,
you won't be that doesn't determine
just
whether or
be
not you can
patient
be on.
because not everybody gets appointed to a board or commission, but the meetings are open to the public and anybody can go and join the
Right,
conversation.
right. There
There's a
are some boards that are
question
full too.
about the senior center opening for socializing and not just food. So it's going back to food, congregate care for food, and that includes various other activities. We could get Jonathan Zamora back on next week maybe and get an update on how that's going. But luckily, the power is back in that building for cooling and the elevator use and the refrigerators needed for the kitchen and so on. So
Mm-hmm.
goodness for that.
Yeah.
It's been hard with this. The heat and the breakdown of the air conditioning units has really been hard on the city for the last couple of weeks. So we got a generator running over the neighborhood center to run those machines right now, with about $100,000 worth of work that needs to happen on the electrical system to get it back to normal. Let's see. I'm just going to go through some more of these. We got someone who's opposed to a dispensary or a lounge.
Vote, vote. There's a survey going around on the city
Yeah,
website and the social media page. Please vote. If you can't get to the city website or internet, you can come to City Hall and grab a paper and you can vote. Vote for it or against it, whatever you prefer. But please vote.
So we can get clarification on any question if someone wants to send an email to my address. I'll put it in the comment.
Must be some interesting comments on there. So I do thank everyone for commenting and tuning in every Tuesday afternoon. Again, to remind people, the food dispensary, the food from Westcop in the city of Peekskill and Youth Borough, we will be doing the second Friday and the fourth Friday of every month going forward. And the mobile food truck will be out there the first and the third Friday of every month. So um, thank you all. We have any more, Andy, you want to share?
I think that covers the main topics. Maybe next week we could talk about some of the policy issues that we're working on with the city council
Okay.
related to tree ordinance, affordable housing,
Mm-hmm.
snow, sidewalk snow issues and things like that.
There's gonna be an announcement on salt tomorrow too that I think is gonna have an impact on Westchester County. So,
Okay.
well, maybe you'll be able to share some more of that information too.
I will stay up to date on that as well.
Okay, great. All
Okay.
right,
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it.
Andy. Thanks again. I'll see you soon. Have a great afternoon, and thank you everyone at Peekskill. We love you.
All right. Bye bye now.